is a romantic comedy about science nerds. In some ways, it's a very traditional romantic comedy, you know, boy meets girl, boy gets girl, does boy lose girl. But it's also about a couple of real scientific problems that operate as a metaphor for the romantic struggles that the characters are having. So it's about a graduate student in computer science who's trying to solve something called the traveling salesman problem, which in reality is the most important unsolved problem in all of computer science. And basically it involves calculating the most efficient possible route for a hypothetical traveling salesman among a given number of cities, which is a very simple problem, except that every time you add a city, the number of possible paths among them goes up exponentially. So very quickly at 10, 15, 20 cities, let alone 50 or 100 cities, you're looking at hundreds and hundreds of billions of possible paths among them. So in the play, that operates as a kind of metaphor for choosing a life partner, for dating, but also just for, like, you know, choosing who you want to spend your life with. The seemingly impossible choice, impossible in the sense that it's so important, and yet how could you possibly know that you're making the best choice or even a good choice? So it's about this guy who's working on this problem, who meets a girl who seems really well suited to him, and she's a molecular biologist at his same university, working on a different problem, a problem of wound healing using you know, manipulating human proteins. And for my generation, you know, marriage isn't a given. It's happening much later. Divorce is much more frequent. And so you're allowed to ask all kinds of questions about this stuff, which is great, but then those questions can spiral down into, like, an unanswerable rabbit hole. So I think the play is both about, like, this universal problem of love and how to, like, have it in your life, and then also sort of a specific problem that that comes from being a part of a generation where none of this is a given anymore, but it's like we haven't landed on anything else that is a given, and maybe we won't. Yeah, so it's a very nerdy romantic comedy.